Good afternoon. We begin with that deadly shooting that has rocked an Indianapolis neighborhood. Thanks for joining us at 4. I'm Dustin Grove.
And I'm Karen Campbell in for Felicia Lawrence. The owner of a well-known restaurant gunned down right in front of his business. Metro Police are investigating and tell us they have arrested a suspect.
CNN New Yorker talked with family members and has the latest on what happened.
Less than 24 hours after bloodshed here at West 26th and MLK, George Nelson Jr. showed up with his father on his mind.
He helped everybody out. Everybody. He helped everybody out. He helped everybody out, man. He helped everybody out, man. For this, the way that he went out, this is crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy.
IMPD tells 13 News they found 56-year-old George Nelson Sr. shot last night outside of his restaurant, Pa and Ma's Backyard Barbecue. He was taken to the hospital but died from his injuries. Just a few hours later, police arrested a man on Bancroft near Emerson Avenue. Officers found 2 guns in the car while executing a search warrant. That suspect is currently in Marion County Jail, pending first-degree murder charges. Word of Nelson's death has rocked the community.
We killing one another. People, this man was doing good. Open up a restaurant down for the neighborhood, everybody. Senseless stuff. George was a good man. Now he gone.
Condolences from all over are pouring in, with some even starting a memorial right here in front of his business. One customer even starting a prayer circle to keep the Nelson family lifted. Nelson Jr. says he wants his father's legacy to live on, and he hopes the community continues to support the family business.
If you didn't before, now you need to, and we need it. We need it. We need it. He ain't died for nothing.
Reporting in Indianapolis, CNN New Yorker, 13 News.
See ya, thank you. Also today, an IMPD sergeant appeared in court accused of downloading and sharing child pornography online. Javed Richards pleaded not guilty to 13 counts of child exploitation. He did pay his bond, but was denied release until he turns over all of his passports and guns. He's due back in court September 10th.
A man pleads guilty in a deadly shooting during a funeral at an Indianapolis church. Stephen Lowe pleaded guilty to voluntary manslaughter and other charges in the death of Jermaine Turman. Now, as part of his plea, a murder charge was dismissed and Lowe agreed to a 40-year prison sentence. Turman was married to Lowe's ex-wife, who says they lived in fear of Lowe for months before the shooting.
Today we're learning about a permanent memorial that'll soon be unveiled for the victims of suspected serial killer Herb Baumeister in Westfield. Yeah,
organizers say a remembrance for victims of the Fox Hollow tragedy is long overdue. Now, of the thousands of remains found on Fox Hollow farms in the mid-90s, just 9 have been positively identified. Their names will be on the memorial.
There will also be a burial area for other victims as they are identified. The founder of a ministry group called He Knows Your Name says it's time for the remains to be laid to rest.
It's a matter of justice, and I felt like when I heard Jeff tell this story, I knew in my heart that it was time. I could not get over the fact that we've gone 30 years in this community by ignoring this whole scenario.
A funeral for one of the victims is scheduled for next Thursday at Hamilton Memorial Park Cemetery.
And that's also when the memorial will be unveiled. Well, it was a great day outside. Sean, what can we expect for today and tomorrow?
Yeah, it's comfortable here, and it's just the season, by the way, as we look down in Nashville here. Oh, yeah, football, football, football. Operation Football tomorrow. We'll go into a little more detail on what to expect here. This evening is another spectacular day. A little bit warmer as expected than the past couple. A little bit closer to 80 degrees. You see a little more haze in the sky as well. This is actually some remnant smoke from the western U.S. versus Canada this go around here. Most of this, again, is going to remain elevated. We're at 76 with a comfortable dew point of 50 degrees. Southeast wind now at 5 to 10. Sunset 8:31 here this evening, and it will be a slower cool down, and we won't be as low as to the last couple of mornings, but still going to be very comfortable. So this high is going to start to drift away from us one little bitty change for the weekend. We're going to throw in a chance of a shower or rumble of thunder as we go into Saturday. More on the incoming heat wave. Matt tells me, quote, we have a lot of traffic. I'll let him explain.
Yeah, Sean, it's one of those evenings you're trying to get home because you want to enjoy all the nice weather that you were just talking about, and it's a slow go. There are mainly 2 accidents that are causing huge backups right around the skyscrapers. We're going to take you to the east side. This is I-65 as you're headed southbound. Earlier, we had a fire truck that was blocking most of the lanes. Think there's a kind of more of a medical emergency going on, but it's really slow. Traffic all the way from about 38th Street on 65, go past the skyscrapers, going south all the way I-70. It is very slow. And then this is a look on I-70 East. We've now reopened a couple of lanes. You see there's a fire truck right there. Originally, it was sitting in the middle lane, blocking a bunch of traffic, but it's been able to move off to the side. The accident's being off to the side now. You can see Lucas Oil, so we're real close to downtown. If you're coming in from the north, you're coming in from the west, it's a slow go. We'll have another update on traffic here in about 10.
All right, thanks, Matt. History in the making tonight as Vice President Kamala Harris will take the stage to accept the Democratic nomination for president.
And that will wrap up this week's Democratic National Convention in Chicago. This afternoon, I talked with Nick Roberts, who's a part of the Indiana delegation. He's also a first-term member of the Indianapolis City County Council. Now, we know earlier this week, police stepped up security measures after protesters breached a security barrier near the United Center. Roberts told me he's noticed the increased police presence since.
It's not gotten a really bad point. We've been very fortunate that, Chicago Police, Secret Service, Capitol Police, all have been really stepping up to work together and made it very smooth and safe for all of us.
Roberts is one of 86 Indiana delegates in Chicago, along with alternates and party staff. As we mentioned, Kamala Harris will take the stage in just a few hours from now.
NBC's Alice Barr is at the United Center with more on that and a look ahead to tonight's conclusion of the Democratic National Convention.
Hi there. We are counting down to the main event when Vice President Kamala Harris will take the stage to formally accept her party's history-making nomination for president. Sources are telling NBC News that in her speech, she's going to try to go through her personal and professional story to present a contrast with former President Trump and then to lean into what they're describing as a deep and abiding sense of patriotism. That all follows her running mate, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, doing the same, kind of introducing himself to the nation. He talked a lot about his personal story, having been a teacher and high school football coach. There were some of his former athletes that were actually here in the United Center, and he gave what amounted to a locker room pep talk. He talked about being down by a field goal, but going on offense and having the right team to carry this over the finish line in these final weeks and months before the election. He also spoke about, his growing up in a small town in Nebraska and how that taught him to take care of each other, but also to mind your own business. And that really fed into what he was setting up as his definition of freedom. He talked about reaching across the aisle when he was in Congress. He's someone who was chosen certainly in an attempt to appeal to those small town, working class, white, rural Americans that this ticket is going to need. And he talked about knowing when to reach across the aisle and compromise, but not compromising his values. He did not shy away from the series of progressive policies that he signed now that he is governor of Minnesota, and talked about not banning books, but banishing hunger from classrooms. He talked about protecting reproductive freedom, and again, that all went into his conception of what freedom is. So that was the big moment from last night. But again, it's all leading up to tonight when Vice President Kamala Harris will take the stage and make that last push on the final night of the Democratic National Convention. From the United Center in Chicago, I'm Alice Barr, NBC News.
Senator J.D. Vance is on the campaign trail in Georgia. Former President Trump's running mate met with law enforcement officials in Valdosta. Now, that is where he got a tour of drugs and weapons seized in transit through the area. Trump and Vance are spending the week crisscrossing the country's swing states in an effort to draw focus away from the DNC in Chicago.